it's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out all of my other videos for more content. But today's video is going to be a pageant video, and I've been very excited to film this. We're going to be talking about appointed titles and whether or not you should accept them and what your thought process should be, things that you should think about to help you determine if they're a good fit for you. I think nowadays appointed titles are becoming more and more popular, especially with COVID and things, changing and switching with national dates and queens, holding titles more than a year. I also think that in a lot of ways, appointed titles could be more affordable for systems. You kind of cut out a lot at the state level, and you can give girls a grander experience on the national or international level. I think another thing is that the appointing process of these appointed titles is becoming way more detailed, way more thorough. You're having like paperwork screenings and multiple Zoom interviews and social media checks, and those are the things that I love to see. What has really turned me off about appointed titles in the past is it's kind of been just this taboo thing. If you sign up, you pay your money, and that's it. And the system doesn't really take time to get to know who their appointed representatives are. But I think that's changing, and I'm here for it. I think that systems are realizing that there are some pros to appointed titles, but there are also cons, just like anything else. There are pros and cons to everything. And when you appoint a girl, before you get to see her compete, and before you really get to kind of see what kind of title holder she is, there's risk to that. And I'm seeing a lot more systems being very, very extensive in their appointing process. And I think that, it's a lovely thing because it's important for these systems to know, you know, the girls that are representing them. So, you don't have to dethrone anyone. And like back in the day, back in my MAO 1.0 days, appointed titles were taboo, honey. And y'all, I know I don't look it. But I'm 26. I'll be turning 27 in about 2 weeks, and I'm getting married in like 10 weeks. So I'm actually about to be a Mrs., even though I kind of look like a teen still. And when I started competing at 15 and then moved on to MAO around like 19, 20, appointed titles were kind of like leprosy of pageantry. It was just kind of this unfortunately judgmental mindset of like, if you had an appointed title, you were taking the easy way out. You were just paying your money and just racking up titles without competing for them. And that was the thing. And now that I have some experience and I've gotten older and wiser, my mindset has changed. I don't think that one is more important than the other. It's not really about how you get your title, it's about what you do with it. It's not about the title, it's about the girl with the title, the same way that it's not about the gown, it's about the girl in the gown. Okay, so yeah, I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But I want to give you guys some things to think about when you're faced with the opportunity to accept an appointed title. So let's get into it. So I have my list in front of me. I'm matching with my clipboard here. So honestly, y'all, I think that appointed titles and whether or not you should accept them come down to three things. And that is your confidence, your resources, and your risk tolerance. Okay, so let's go through these things and I will give you some examples. So for your confidence, I think that it is more beneficial and a lot easier for a pageant vet to accept an appointed title and compete at the next level successfully versus a new pageant person. And that's just because pageantry is something that you really have to be in to understand how extensive it is, and the mental and physical and spiritual and financial preparation that goes into it. And I would advise, when you're getting into pageantry, to start small and to work your way up. I would not advise a new pageant person to accept an appointed title. straight out the gate and go to like a national or international competition, because it can be very overwhelming. I think the exception to the rule is if you are new, but you have a bomb team behind you, you have pageant resources, or pageant friends or colleagues or whatever, and you have the finances to get yourself together. Is You have to think about like how much competing is going to cost you, right? Like your wardrobe, your interview preparation, your walking preparation, and then you have to think about how much it's going to cost you to get to the national competition. There are a lot of hidden fees in pageantry that you don't realize until you get into the pageant game, like many other things. Um, so yeah, I would say it's more beneficial and easier for a vet versus a newbie, just because a vet has that foundation of confidence, and they know what it's like to compete, so they have a better idea of what it's going to be like to compete on a grander scale, with an appointed title. Okay, so number two is an extension of number one, which is your resources. um, if you have the resources, if you have the coins, if you have the money to go straight to nationals or internationals with an appointed title, then do so. This is typically a little more difficult because, like, state titles and things like that, state and local titles, they come with a prize package. A lot of appointed titles don't. It's like you do your paperwork, you do the interview process, you get your crown and sash in the mail, and you're on your own from there. Like, there there's much less guidance with appointed titles than titles that are like won outright that you compete for. So that's something to consider. If you're a title holder that enjoys guidance, and you know that you need that, and that's something that you need to thrive, no matter your experience level, that's something to think about, because appointed titles typically come with less resources. You have to already kind of, it's better if you already kind of have your pageant village and your team together. Okay, now the last and final thing is your risk tolerance. And what I mean by that is, um, what are you willing to sacrifice with an appointed title, uh, for the chance to win at the national or international level, right? So, for example, a lot of appointed titles, you have a limited selection of titles to choose from. It's like a first come, first serve basis. So if you live in Georgia, like I do, but the Georgia title is already taken, another girl got to it before you did, you may have to choose from like a neighboring state, or a state on the other side of the country. For me, that isn't ideal. I would prefer to wear Georgia across my chest because I'm born and raised here. Both sides of my family have lived here for 4 generations going back. So Georgia is my home. And if I'm going to wear a state on my chest on any pageant stage, on any pageant national stage, I would prefer that it be Georgia. Now, if I'm competing in a system, and if I'm thinking of getting an appointed title in said system, and the system is just bomb, they're trending, they have a great prize package and whatnot, and I'm really confident in my ability to win the national title or international title or what have you, I may sacrifice, and wear another state across my chest for those couple of months leading up to nationals, because my risk tolerance for that, and my confidence and my ability to win the overall title is very high. So that's something for you to think about. How attached are you to specific titles? Is there any attachment at all? Another part of that could be, do you value a crowning moment? A lot of appointed titles don't come with that. You have to wait and see how you do at the next level of competition. So if you're just going, to nationals or internationals with your appointed title for the experience, you may be okay. But if you're going to win, you really need to be on your prep and you really need to be on your game, because you only have one opportunity to win that national or international competition versus a title that's won outright on the state level that goes to nationals. Even if you don't win on the national level, you still have that crowning moment at the state level because you're the state title holder. So if you value that crowning moment, that's a risk tolerance that you need to think about and figure out internally, because you only have one opportunity versus, multiple opportunities with titles that you compete for, right? So those are just a few things that I have for you to think about, queens. I think that the appointed titles are, they're where it's at right now. I think it's a lot easier for systems and for title holders. I think that in a lot of ways it allows you to prioritize your preparation, and you also kind of get a lot more time to prepare, and to prepare kind of at your own pace. I think appointed titles are very good for um, the introverted pageant girl. Yeah, you guys, I think that the appointed titles can be great as long as you do your due diligence with figuring out what it looks like for you, and making sure that it's a good fit for you, being the type of title holder that you are. I think it's important also to not just be out here title hungry. It's not about how many crowns and sashes you have. It's about the impact that you're making. So make sure that you're just not out here, nilly-willy racking up, crowns and sashes, girls, and not doing nothing with it, not, having no service out there, not having no personal development. Make sure that, there's still purpose behind your titles. Like I said, it's not about the title, it's about the girl with the title and what she's doing with it. So, yeah, y'all, that's it. Make sure that you like, make sure that you comment, make sure that you subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video.